Welcome to DREEMM, where we are focused on connecting to and building community. We are committed to helping individuals break cycles. We are delighted that you have taken the opportunity to join us. So prepare yourselves for this week's teaching and equipping session. Get ready to be educated, equipped, and set free as you listen to this week's broadcast. And
Hey y'all, sorry about that. I was trying to get the power cord in for tonight's session because I don't want y'all to miss any part of this. So for those who are joining for the first time, I am Pastor Cunningham with the amazing Dream Team. I'm so excited to bring you guys tonight's session because there's quite a few things that I want to wrap up in our wilderness experience session. But before I do that, for those of you who are joining for the first time or who've come before, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have so many people who are loving our stuff, liking our stuff, sharing our stuff. We thank you guys so much. We thank you for watching and tuning in week after week as we share words of God and words of wisdom with you from our experience and also from the Bible. And we just appreciate it. You know, you could be watching anything else or be anywhere else, but you're dedicated and spending time with us. And we know that your time is valuable. So thank you for coming and spending time with DREEMM. For those of you joining for the first time who have no idea, and you're like, Kai, what is DREEMM? What is it? Well, DREEMM stands for Deliverance, Restoration, Education, and Empowerment for Me Ministries. We are super excited to announce the new DREEMM South team, and I am a part of the DREEMM South team, myself and my husband, Pastor King Cunningham. And we are based in Chattanooga, Tennessee. For those of you who do not know, Chattanooga is in the building. Our home office, our home Dream Team is actually in Cincinnati, Ohio. Such a phenomenal team up there. And they are doing some amazing work. So you guys stay tuned for more details on what's coming. I know we have marriage ministry, I believe, this week. So more information about that soon. But as we continue to move forward, I want to just talk to you for a few minutes about going into a wilderness experience. Over the past couple of weeks, we've talked about coming out of it. We've talked a little bit about what happens during it, but I want to talk a little bit about what happens when you're getting ready to go into your wilderness experience. Myself and my husband, Pastor Ken, have shared over the past couple of weeks, we have been going through our very own wilderness experience. And there was so much that God did during the experience, so much that he taught us about ourselves, so much about our family, so much that he taught us about our family, and so much that he revealed to us about where we were getting ready to move into next. And I am just, my mind is blown. My mind is totally blown. About 3 years ago, when we first moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee, we moved into a community that had a community center. And God put on my heart, hey, go ask the office manager, can you use this community center for DREEMM South? And so didn't understand it at the moment, but I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna go ask. And so when I approached the office manager and asked her about the opportunity to use the center for DREEMM South, she said, of course. She actually said to me, we need you here. We need this. You guys, at that time, I was working a job that I traveled frequently. I was always either here or gone, and I was working very long hours at the time. And what I did not realize was that I was allowing that position to be an idol in my life. And so God had to reveal to me after, I no longer had the job, that was what was happening then. And because that was what was going on, I was traveling so much, I was working crazy hours. I decided I can't do what God was telling me to do at that time. I couldn't do DREEMM South, and I couldn't launch what God was trying to birth through this ministry. And my husband, Pastor Ken, at the time was just not ready for it either. And so we just allowed ourselves to kind of just gracefully back out. No, thank you, God. But we gonna sit this one out. You guys, in September, I no longer had that job anymore. And I remember thinking at one point, we are going to lose everything. We are going to be homeless. Like, this is, I don't know what to do here. And so I began to change my prayer. My prayer was, God, I need you to move in such a way that everybody around will all say the same thing. That was God who did it. God did that. I said, I want you to show up like that in our lives. And I want you, my other thing that I began to ask God for was, God, the next opportunity I go into, I don't want it to be a position of my choosing. I need you to take the lead on this, and anything that you do not want for me, that you do not will for me, I need you to close those doors so that I'm only going into a door or an opportunity that you have ordained. If you didn't ordain it, I don't even want to step towards it. And so that became my prayer, and I continued that prayer during that wilderness experience. Kenny and I took turns lifting each other up, because there were moments where I would go, I don't know what's happening, and I'm having a complete meltdown, and he would speak a word into me, and vice versa. There were times where he would go, I don't know what we're doing here. Everything's not working. And I would have to speak a word into him. And I thank God for the people that he had around us, because they continued to send words and speak words into us and pour into us when we needed to be poured into. And even so, God kept revealing himself. Every time there was something due, or we're stressing about how we're going to take care of something, we would see God show up in such a way where people would just, hey, listen, God told me to bless you with that. And not only that, it was Kenny stepping up in ways where he was able to take the lead on things. And y'all, if I told you some of the expenses, you would just go, wait, what? And he was able to take care of them because God blessed him in such a way. I mean, bonuses were coming out of nowhere. It was just, God did it. And then we are now back at the place that we originally moved to when we first moved here to Chattanooga. So y'all know that same office manager is still here. And when we talked to her about coming back, she was like, oh my goodness, my favorite family. I'm so excited for you to be here. And I didn't say anything else. I just kind of left it there. And I had prayed about it. Was like, okay, God, you're sending us back there again. And I recognize what you're doing here. Like, I'm not confused at all. I recognize what you're doing here. And I just kind of got quiet about it. I didn't say anything else about Dream South. I didn't say anything else about what was happening there or that opportunity. I called Apostle Deborah Edwards and said, listen, we're going back to this place. And she said to me, isn't that the same place that they said that you could use the community center for Dream South? Huh. And she began to go, I'm so excited about what God is doing. I'm just so excited. God is about to show out. I'm just so excited. And you guys, I feel that same excitement. I am in our very new office. I'm so excited about this part. But y'all, what God is going to do next is going to blow everybody's mind. It's even blowing my mind as I'm watching the pieces come together. So going into the wilderness, there were three main points that I wanted to bring up tonight. And then I'm going to wrap this thing up because y'all, I don't want to keep you too long. I just want to share this with you. So as you're getting ready to go into your wilderness experience, or you're going through struggles and you're trying to figure it all out and you're trying to figure out the answers, I'm going to tell you what we did and I'm going to tell you what we learned in the process. So one, the first thing we did, Kenny called a fast for the entire family. Everybody, we fasted. Stop eating. We're fasting because we need God to move and we need to hear from God. This was the first time our children have ever fasted like this before. And so at one point, our youngest child, who was working in fast food, and he's fasting, goes to work and he calls me like, Mom, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. And I was like, you got it. And he texted me again and he was like, no, I am so hungry. I don't know what to do. And I know smelling the food, I was worried about him that morning and actually had started praying for him that morning. And then he texted me after a little bit and was like, I don't want to make God mad. I don't want to make God mad. I'm not going to eat. I don't want to upset God. And I remember thinking, okay, The kids got it. And after that, y'all, he didn't say he was hungry no more until the end of the fast. I mean, the end of the fast. And then even when it stopped, he was still not eating for a little bit. And I think it was because he understood it. It finally became something. It wasn't just something my parents told me to do and told me we have to do this. He understood the message behind it. And so, you guys, I want you to understand it. So, we are talking about an Exodus moment. And I think this is a whole Exodus experience. Our mindset had to shift as we were going into this. And even through the Exodus period, even through our wilderness period, God was still taking stuff off of us and showing us our flaws and showing us the areas where he was breaking us and rebuilding us and refining us. And so through this experience, we have come out of this thing stronger than when we went into it. And one thing I learned is not everything is the enemy. We want to blame the enemy for everything that goes wrong, but some things are God moving and getting you into position of where he needs you to be. And that was what was happening in this season, was God going, nope, 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 y'all got out of position. And I'm allowing you a do-over. What you were supposed to start 2-3 years ago that you didn't start because of disobedience, and 2, because you made an idol out of something else, out of that job, that position, that career. I am now giving you an opportunity to do that thing again. And instead of, giving you a whooping, because when your mama tell you to do something or your dad tell you to do something and you don't do it, you get punished for it. So God said, instead of punishing you guys for this, I'm giving you an opportunity to do it again. And so we got a do-over this time. And I know it's my focus and Pastor Ken's focus. We don't want to make God upset. No, God, we want to please you. And I thank you for the opportunity to be able to do this thing over. And so I'm so excited about this. But let's talk about what we learned. So first of all, God reveals who he is in times of our struggle, or when you're getting ready to go to through your wilderness experience. We have a knowledge of who God is, who we think he is, but we don't really know him. It's kind of like you have a form of godliness, like Apostle Deborah says all the time, but you don't actually have relationship with God. God, I come to you when I need something, but when I don't have a need, I don't have a need for you. And so God becomes that genie that we run to whenever we need to rub the lamp and ask him to come out so you can grant my wish, instead of having true relationship. In times of struggle is when God can reveal who he truly is. So you know him as your provider, as your protector. You know him as a strong tower that you can run into. You know him as a loving father, and you get to know all the different areas, or all the different things that make up the God that we worship. And you get to have true intimacy where you get to look into him and come into relationship with him. But he also reveals who you are in times of it. So he reveals your flaws, those areas about yourself that you were really blind to. I didn't think my job was an idol at the time I was there. I just thought I'm making a reasonable I honestly, I can't do what you're asking me to do right now because I have to work. I gotta work. So what you want me to do? I'll take that job away. Now you have no excuses. Now you got nothing but time, right? And that's how God moves. And in it, he's revealing who he is. So you're coming into a knowledge of him. The other thing that God reveals in our time of struggle is he reveals his power, he reveals his strength, and he reveals his love when we are struggling. Let's talk about it a little bit. His power. Let's go back to the children of Israel. And I actually want to go back to the first one, and then I'm going to talk about the second one. When he's revealing who he is, we've got to remember that when they went into slavery and they were under the Egyptians, and this is in Exodus, end of Genesis going into Exodus, the children of Israel going into slavery. They were in slavery for 400 years. 400 years. That meant everybody, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of the leaders of all of the children, all of the people who had relationships with God, who would hear from God, who talked to God, who experienced God, they were long gone. So all they're hearing is the stories of Abraham, the story of Isaac, and the stories of Jacob and all of his children, his sons. They're hearing stories of them. You know, you are part of. I know I'm one of Benjamin's descendants. I know, I'm one of, Joseph's descendants. I know I'm one of Abraham's descendants, but I don't have the same relationship with God that they had. And so there was this separation between them and God during those 400 years. It's kind of like I hear stories of my great grandmother. Now, I got to know her a little bit before she passed when I was a child, but I didn't know her like my grandmother knew her. I didn't know her like my mom and my aunts knew her. I knew of her. So there's a relationship with her. Now, my children, she was long gone before they were born. So they have a knowledge of her, but they don't know her. That is what relationship does. So God not only revealed himself to them, he also revealed himself to the Egyptians, because he needed Pharaoh to know, I am the one true God. You serve all of these idols, all of these fake gods, but I'm the one true God, and let me show you who I am. So it was showing himself to him, but also in that time, God was showing himself to Moses. Moses got to know God intimately. If we look at the book of Exodus, we'll find out before Moses made any decision, he consulted God first. In Numbers, we see the same thing. Before any decision was made, he consulted with God. There was one story that I was reading yesterday where they were talking about clean and unclean when people were supposed to come to a sacred ceremony. And what if I touched a dead body before this? Now I'm unclean and I can't come to this ceremony. And Moses, they were saying, what are we supposed to do? What, we can't come? We can't be a part of it because I touched a dead corpse, or now I'm unclean? What am I supposed to do? And Moses didn't give them an answer. He went, let me consult with God and let me see what God says. That's going to have to be our answer. That's going to have to be the way you move. Before I move and do anything, let me consult with God. That's why my prayer was, God, don't let me choose the job. I need you to choose the next job, the next role I go into. Close every door, every place I apply to, so that I only move where you have called me to go. God, don't let me make decisions of where we live. I need you to make the decision of where we live. Because if I leave it up to myself, I'm going to put myself somewhere that you didn't even ordain for us to be. So I need you to be leading us. And that also was my husband's prayer. So we're praying it in unity. God, this is what we need you to do. And we need to be obedient to what he's saying. So you're not just praying this, but you're, God, I hear you talking. I'm going to be obedient and listen to what you said. So he was revealing himself to them. Like I said, the next thing was God revealed his power, his strength, and his love. So in revealing his power and strength, all of those plagues that we see happening in the book of Exodus, that Moses is saying God is going to cause locusts to come. God is going to turn the water into blood. God is going to cause flies to come. All of these things were God revealing himself not only to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians, but he was also revealing himself to the children of Israel, because they're meeting him almost like for the first time. Their eyes are being opened and their ears are being opened so that they can hear from him. But I'm getting to know the God that Abraham knew. I'm getting to know the God of Jacob that Jacob knew. So it's not just the God of these leaders, but it's the God of me too. And God will do the same thing in your life, where he will reveal his power and his strength. And so where we were, like I was saying, we were thinking, I was thinking for a moment, oh my goodness, we're going to be homeless. And God goes, no, I'm going to give you a new home. You're going to have a roof over your head. I'm not going to have you out on the street. No, I'm going to open a door for you. And this is going to be the door that I'm opening. And there were times where, like I said, blessings were coming out of nowhere, just everywhere, just pouring out on us. And it was just the favor of God. And then God allowed us to move in some areas that we did not even think we were able to move in. It was Him opening doors for us. And not only that, but God showed His love for us. Although in the beginning, I was still blaming myself, like, this is my fault. God, if I hadn't have made us move to Chattanooga, we would never be in this situation. Everything will be okay. My husband is going to be mad at me. My kids are going to be mad at me because I put us in this situation. And God goes, wait a minute. I told you to go to Chattanooga. I did that. But I'm blaming myself. And I'm just beating myself down. And God just kept showing me love and showing me compassion and showing me that He's a good Father through all of this. And He does that same thing to each and every one of you. When you are going through struggles, when you are going through issues, when you are going through problems, He's doing the same thing, pouring out His love on you. So we see it there. The last thing that we see, God reveals our flaws and cultivates who He called us to be. So in that moment, God showed me, like He showed me, look, this was your idol. You put this thing on a high pedestal, baby. It came before anything and anybody. That job was your idol. And he allowed me to see not only the flaws in that, but other things inside of me that were flawed as well. You don't do what you're supposed to do. You move this kind of way, and I need you to move differently. I need you to make different decisions, and I need you to listen to my voice. I need you to hear me, but also I need you to be bold. When I tell you to open up your mouth, I need you to open up your mouth. Sometimes you sit back quietly and don't say anything. Well, I'm yelling at you, say this. This is what you're supposed to say. And so He had to show me the flaws inside of me and then start cultivating who He needed me to be. I'm not just showing you the flaws so you'll beat yourself up about it. I'm showing you the flaws to give you an opportunity to get up and do what I called you to do. Okay, I'm taking that thing out of you. I'm taking that thing off of you. That was the reason why I showed you those things, so you don't go back to it and try to do it again. So you don't revert backwards. What the enemy wants you to do is to see those flaws and get stuck, because you begin to think, that's me. This is just how I am. I'm just this type of person. Or you begin to beat yourself up about something that God is trying to deliver you from. So you guys, that was that. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Our dogs are going crazy. My son just walked in. And so that is the reason why you hear both of them barking so loudly. But like I was saying, God is trying to reveal to you what your flaws is, so that He has an opportunity to clean you up, to get you back into position where you're supposed to be, and to be able to dust you off. So you guys, this has been another Truth Tuesday. Again, I am so excited about where God is getting ready to take us to and what He's going to do through the Dream South team. I will have more information and updates for you guys soon about all of the blessings that God is going to do, not only with us, but through us. And then to be able to share with you guys the very first session of Dream South in Chattanooga, Tennessee is getting ready to happen. So we're going to share more detail about that. But you guys, this is Truth Tuesday. Thank you for joining, and we will see you guys again soon.